Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a special episode of the Square Circle podcast on Twitter Spaces. We're going to be talking about everything that happened on WWE Monday Night Raw, especially this whole thing that I think that we're going to have a WWE and New Japan partnership. And I have a lot of, I guess, reasons to back it up as to why it makes sense logically. And so as we have this recorded space, just please make sure to not say anything that you're going to regret because it is a recorded space. It will be going up live on anchor.fm/ Square Circle Podcast, and then probably some other places too. I am joined by my co-host, BJ from Oscilution, and hopefully Haru will join us if he wants to. But let's just start it off right quick with the holy shit. The Good Brothers showed up on WWE Monday Night Raw on the season premiere October 10th and helped out AJ Styles.
Yeah, holy shit. That's the best way to describe it.
It is. So what was your first initial reaction to it?
Well, I was all intrigued by getting another heel turn out of AJ watching him join Judgment Day, and then when they showed that glimpse on his face where he looked really angry, I thought, oh no, who's coming out? And I thought he was just getting another tag team out to help him, some backup or something. The Bullet Club was the last thing I was expecting.
That is definitely true. The last thing to expect is that, only because on my side, for those of you that are listening and tuning in and don't really know what I do behind the scenes, is that I cover professional wrestling and I cover New Japan Pro Wrestling, and so I know for a fact that sometimes people really can go over to WWE, but they could go over to AEW or whatever because there's a lot more freedom there. However, with that being said, November 5th, we have Carl Anderson defending that never openweight championship title against Hikuleo. And if you saw on the timeline, Hikuleo basically put out a tweet saying, you hiding from me? So, it's sort of interesting to see where this goes because, is that match going to be called off, or is New Japan going to give WWE a New Japan title shot, over on Monday Night Raw or something?
That's exactly it. Can you imagine if even, say, for instance, Hikuleo wins the title, next minute we're getting Raw crossover to New Japan at, say, Wrestle Kingdom, we're getting Finn Balor.
Yeah. And then I started to think about World Tag League, if WWE is going to send over some WWE tag teams over to World Tag League this time around. Before I continue, I do see that Shelton has requested to speak. I'm going to approve it. And yeah. Uh Hi Shelton, how are you doing? You can unmute yourself, even though it doesn't. Oh yeah, you can unmute yourself. Just
All right,
remember that
like
this is a recorded space. So yeah,
I know
go
this
ahead.
is recorded, so I would
Cool.
like to say I was like legit shocked when I saw the Good Brothers come back. Kind of makes
Uh-huh.
me laugh a bit that Carl came here with the never open weight belt. I don't know how they're gonna take it off.
I mean, the only thing that they can do realistically is basically drop it to Hikuleo and let him be a champion for the first time. That's the only way I could see it.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that, but I will tell you, I love the episode. I wasn't around when DX was all the rage. I wasn't around this big ball of rock, but I do know of how popular they were, and I respect like how they pushed the boundaries and made that Attitude Era work.
Oh, you talking about DX, right? I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah,
Okay, I was like slightly confused, but yeah,
Yeah,
we could pivot it a little bit to DX.
you got what I'm saying. I wasn't born around the time DX was all the rage, but I do know of them, and I respect how they push the boundaries and the envelopes in order for the Attitude Era to kind of get in full swing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. DX is definitely a staple. DX definitely helped bring everything together with, their shenanigans and pushing
And let's
stories,
not
putting over people, doing what they
forget
gotta do.
geriatric acts. Geriatric.
Uh, okay. Just know that you're cutting in and out. So,
It
I'm just letting you
happens.
know you're cutting
It
in
happens.
and out. Yeah. So yeah, DX is definitely big. They ended Raw, and it was just a nice little thank you for all
And
the
yeah,
support that
and
he's
I
given
also would
them.
like to mention Corey Graves. He said something about nefarious things that Billy Gunn was doing with office equipment. You know what he was talking about.
Well, yeah, of course, of course.
The Sins
There,
Army, you know.
yeah, there was definitely a lot of like innuendos throughout the whole entire Monday Night Raw for the season premiere,
The opening
which
segment had a Road Dog say a word that I should not be saying right now, and I
yeah, I
laughed
mean,
so hard. I laughed. I laughed pretty hard. They also had rubber chickens. I don't know
yeah,
what
yeah,
that
yeah.
meant.
Well, I mean, if you want to let your imagination run wild, you can. But yeah, other than the Good Brothers showing up, we'll get back to some more WWE and New Japan stuff. But for Monday Night Raw, Elias is coming back.
Yeah.
Austin,
Who wants to walk with Elias? Me,
yeah,
you, the Australian guy, the other Louisiana fella. I'm
uh,
talking about Mr. Corey B.
okay. So I'm gonna let Aussie Lucian take this one. Yeah. So Aussie, what did you think about it?
Uh, okay, I've come in and out with fandom on Elias, so I'm still half and half with this one. I was the same with Ezekiel, but I thought Ezekiel was a breath of fresh air. Having the storyline with Ezekiel where it was just, oh no, you're Elias. Like they shouldn't have brought Elias into the Ezekiel character. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why it failed. Bringing Elias back just basically proves that the character failed. So personally, I think it's a step backwards, but I don't think there was any other option they could have done with it.
Okay, I thought I was muted. I was tweeting out the room again. But yeah, I'm excited for Elias to come back to see what they do because it was very interesting that like he'll come back anyway. So they had like Ezekiel, like it was the weirdest like storyline and stuff. I am sending out more invites to speak just because I know some more people and I would like to get their opinions on stuff. Um, but okay, so we had that. Was it just me or did anyone else feel like the whole Dominic segment with Ray was a little like borderline cringy, even though I understood what they were trying to do? Like it just felt like
Yeah,
really cringy.
huh? It was a bit cringy. I did say something about Dominic dropping an F bomb.
But
I think he dropped the P word in Spanish.
Oh man,
I
So
know
yeah,
he's Gringo.
yeah, which I know what it is, but I'm not going to repeat it.
I
heavens!
was always the impression Gringo just meant dog.
No.
Gringo,
No.
it's what Hispanics, especially Mexicans, like to call Americans.
Yeah, but it's definitely it. I mean, Aussie, if you think about it, like if you want to use that context, you can because that can be like the friendlier version of it. But it's basically like the equivalent to saying white person when you say gringo, just so you know.
Yeah. Okay, so that explains the translation I'm currently reading.
Yeah. So like if you want to say dog, it's I'm gonna butcher it because I can't roll my R's and I'm half Spanish and it's really bad. But like if you say perro, like with two R's in it, it
Oh,
means dog. Yeah. So it's Perro, which means dog. If you have Pero, that's the word for like but. Like when you say a sentence of like, I like ice cream, but I want like a milkshake. Like that.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
kind of
yeah.
makes sense, but I would like to say I kind of winced. And do you ever see how Rey Mysterio cries? It makes me kind of wince. Kind of makes me
I
cringe when
mean,
I see Ray cry.
yeah, but you
Yeah,
know, at least he's like showing some type of emotion. I just wish that, he could
yeah,
get
yeah,
over
yeah.
it. I mean,
I get it.
because
And I'll tell you, Dominic, oh boy, he really wanted his own father to beat him up.
He's
yeah,
got some heat.
And the other thing, another thing, let me see. Oh, Seth Rollins winning. He's now, well, America's champion again.
yeah, just
Ugh.
don't get it, just don't get too far ahead because I wanted to say something about the Dominic thing.
What happened?
I was gonna say that with Dominic really wanting to have his father attack him, in my head, I was like, Ray, where did you go wrong? Like, why is Dominic really wanting this ass whooping? Why is he really, really, really wanting this? Like, once that ass whooping comes about, what's really the next step? Like, is that really gonna teach him something? Like, do you guys think that WWE is going to have him turn and go back to his dad and be like, oh, I was just going through a phase, it's
Yeah,
Judgment Day, it's gothicness. Like I just wanted to come back home to
people
daddy and
have
shit.
a phase in their years. I really didn't have a gothic phase, but I mean, people do have one. And I'm also going to have to say, maybe it's because Rhea saw. If you want to hear my Australian accent, you're going to enjoy it. And Dominic, feeling all the love, take my breath away. If you haven't seen
Thank
Top
you for
Gun,
that.
you'll understand the reference.
I mean, I think we do, but thanks for the karaoke little soundbite. Um, the other thing too is that I mean, I don't know if anyone else here caught New Japan Strong's Declaration of Power, which was
They
today.
announced a new TV title which had like 15-minute time limit. I can see, kind of quick matches with that, but I mean, I would also like to say New Japan's brothers being re-signed to WWE.
Yeah,
I guess
dude, don't get ahead of me. Okay.
there were rumors of WWE and New Japan teaming up last year, but it didn't happen.
All right. So hold on. Don't get ahead of me. This is a special edition of the Square Circle podcast, and we're going through things one at a time. So the only reason why I brought up Declaration of Power is because I wanted to relate it to Dominic and how he wants his dad to beat his ass because New Japan had their first ever uh, Call Me Daddy match for their King of Pro Wrestling provisional trophy that Shingo has. And it was Shingo versus ELP. I could not freaking bring myself to watch the match, even though people were like, oh, it's a good match and stuff. I was like, I have to skip to the end because I really thought it was stupid that these two guys, um, Shingo being the previous IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, is in a program with ELP about who's your daddy. So I was just like, yo, this is so much vibes of like back in the day of like who's your poppy. with like Eddie and Ray and Dominic, and I'm just hearing like, yo, this is some shit that goes on in New Japan. Like New Japan is tell me you're kinky without telling me you're kinky. That's what it is. Um, I love New Japan, but yeah, I wanted to do that. To mention that they had a who's your daddy match. Um, Oscilution, by me just saying that, you have any thoughts on that?
When you said tell me you're kinky without telling me you're kinky, the first thing that came to mind was Mandy Rose and Otis.
Was what?
Remember the whole Mandy Rose and Otis love storyline?
Yeah.
How like kinky they got with all of that stuff.
Oh.
But yeah,
Yeah,
going back to Dominic thing for a second, the hate that Dominic was getting, like the boos every time he tried to speak. I've not seen something like that since his auntie in WWE.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Especially
yeah, yeah.
more specifically, I don't know if everyone remembers it or not. Back in, I think it might have been 2011, it was after TLC. John Cena had beaten Wade Barrett, and
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler won his match, and Dolph Ziggler was in the ring with Vicky, and Vicky was trying to talk, and it went on for about 10 minutes of Vicky trying to talk, and every time she put her mouth to the mic, Texas just booed her out of the arena. It was so loud and raucous. And even Cena had to be like, shush, 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 she's trying to speak. Give her the moment.
Yeah, man. Good callback to that. It really did feel like that. Like Brooklyn got so freaking loud that I was like, "Yep, that's New York for you." Like if they don't like you, they'll definitely let you know. Um, Everything pro wrestling. Thanks for coming back. I don't know what happened to you guys. You guys like disappeared and came back, and you're automatically a speaker. The power of like Twitter Spaces. Would you like to add to anything about like? WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling Partnership, Good Brothers showing up, New Japan stuff, kinky stuff.
Conrad Cushman, welcome to the space.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, man.
Yeah, I was surprised that isn't Anderson still the never open weight champion?
Yes, he is. He has to defend it on November 5th against Hikuleo, but I don't know if that's still going to happen. We'll find out in the press conference that's going to be happening like at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Man, that makes things very interesting for them. Or maybe I don't know. You see, people are speculating maybe they're working together now, different ownership now
Probably.
than when they requested it.
Probably, man. Like I was like super shocked because before when the dirt sheets were talking about that WWE was trying to reach out to New Japan, but then that got stopped because now we had the partnership between AEW and New Japan that we never thought this could happen. But then now tonight we get it, and it's like, yo, what is happening in wrestling? Like, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's very weird, man. Like, I don't know. And it makes you wonder too if like WWE and AEW were on better terms. Like, I still feel like Billy Gunn should have been there
Yeah,
tonight.
same here. Same. I was hoping that like he would have just showed up.
Yeah, I don't think they can let him do that. I think after the last time when they called him a pissant company, and what was the other thing they had said about him? I can't even
Like,
remember now. I
yeah,
think after the contract tampering, yeah, they're just not cool with them right now because they caused some of the issues that AEW's having in the locker room. So I get it on both sides.
yeah. Do you see that with the Good Brothers there, do you see that this might be a long term after the Good Brothers finish up like the New Japan dates?
I think it's wise if Triple H plays well, if that's a fair thing to say. Like with Vince McMahon never played well with others. He always, my terms, this is what I want to do. Sorry for the impression, but I always do it when I do Vince's voice.
No, it's
We're
good,
going to
man.
do what
It's
I
good.
want to do. But with Triple H, I think if he plays nicely with them and just says like, hey, like, listen, man, I'm willing to help you guys out, yada, 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 and we can do some stuff together. maybe they'll listen. Like New Japan needs all the help they can get. Why not? They have Wrestle Kingdom coming up. It's their biggest show. If they're willing to send somebody over there, I don't know, of the stature of maybe like a Riddle or someone who could handle their style. If I'm New Japan, I don't say no to it.
Of course
I
not.
don't know. I don't know how the exclusivity deals work though with AEW. Like if they're just, oh, you have to do it this way. You
Yeah,
know?
that's true. I don't know. I really don't know at all. I can't really. I was gonna say I don't know too much, but I really don't know. But I will say that because AEW is still an LLC, they really don't. They can't. Well, I can't say they can't. They don't have to. They don't have to divulge like a lot of information, like how WWE has to do that. To divulge it, because they're a publicly traded company. But I will say that it will be nice if like WWE sends over some tag teams for the Super Junior Tag League that's happening in November, in addition to World Tag League that's happening in November as well. We're doing another headliner, double headliner in New Japan. So the president of New Japan was like he's open to like dream matches. So he probably was like, yeah, this is probably good for business, and yeah, I do think that New Japan needs the help, just so that way everyone's perception on Twitter, even though it's so small, the world of wrestling on Twitter is so small, to change some of the perceptions. I try my best the way that I um, cover New Japan Pro Wrestling to try and change people's perceptions at least about the company. But I'm just like one person in like even a smaller niche of like New Japan supporters.
I hear you on that. I hear you. And I think most of the people who are in here listening to this know that like New Japan's really good. It's just a pain to try to watch it at the time if you're trying to watch it live to avoid spoilers. But New Japan is really good and something I would recommend if anyone gets the opportunity to check out or get into. Um, yeah, I think they put on fantastic wrestling still. So highly recommend it. And hopefully this is a chance for WWE, like you said, to widen what they do. Like, why not put something out there? WWE and AEW are so big that there are going to always be talents on ice. Like, you're not doing anything for the next round to build up to the next pay per view. Let those guys go work in New Japan. Help them out. It helps you. It helps everybody. It helps the wrestling business. But I don't think a lot of people see it that way right now. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, you wanted to add some stuff?
My biggest problem with New Japan at the moment, as much as I love watching it, is Royal Quest.
Oh,
They
dude.
still cannot watch it.
Oh man, look, man. I would tell you this. Even during today's broadcast of Declaration of Power, I think it was during one of the United Empire matches, that like they went up to Rocky because Rocky was on the commentary team with Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton, and they were like, "Yo, when's like Royal Quest gonna be put up?" Like they were asking questions. They were like, "When is this gonna be put up?" So yeah, everyone is asking for it. I don't have a timeline. Hopefully they put it up soon, because now it's sort of like I, I mean, we sort of know what happens because of the spoilers. But then the stuff that happens during Declaration of Power, like, it just doesn't add up when they do stories and are freaking consistent, man. Like, I just wish that New Japan could be consistent about like everything, but as Thomas said on his podcast, he came out with a new episode with him and Hikaleo, and he was mentioning how like Japan moves a lot more slower than like the rest of the world, and I'm just like, well, yeah, I could see it. Like, I still love them, but I could like see it. Oh, and by the way, if anyone thinks that I wake up like at 2 or like 4 in the morning to watch New Japan, I don't. I am a girl that likes my 8 hours of sleep, because if I don't get 8 hours of sleep, I will be cranky, and people around me will be like, I don't like you right now. So I need to get my full sleep. If it's something important like today, I stood off of social media so I can enjoy the show, and then like I went back on, and then I went on social media afterwards. But you don't have to wake up at those times to basically like support the company. Like, if you have the subscription, which is only $6 a month now, It was originally $8, but the value dollar keeps dropping, so it's like $6 a month now. If you had a subscription, you could watch it on demand any single time that you have time for it. It's one of the best investments that I fucking love. And yeah, you guys know I love New Japan. But yeah, you know, I was also tweeting out as well on the timeline that, I'm surprised that, well, not yet, but I would like to see Shinsuke Nakamura go back to New Japan Pro Wrestling and just do a tour and just feel at home. Because if we're getting the Good Brothers over in WWE again, why not send like Shinsuke back over there, send like Io Shirai over to Stardom, and yeah, that'll be a very good question. Do you guys think that in this partnership we get the Stardom deal too?
That could be interesting.
That would definitely be interesting because AEW hasn't been utilizing the Stardom deal either. I mean, they could ask Rossi, who's like the boss over there in Stardom, to be like, hey, can we like get some more girls over? And before anyone out there like puts any comments down below, you know, uh like Ito, Maki Ito is not really like a Stardom wrestler per se. Like she can, if she's like booked, she could like wrestle there, but she wrestles more for like TJPW and like the other promotions down over there. So just in case anybody is like, oh, what about Maki? Like, no. Stardom women are like Starlight Kid, which is fantastic, Julia, um Natsu, um a lot more people are not coming to my name, not coming to my head. But yeah, it would be nice to see some Stardom women over in WWE and like vice versa and stuff.
You've got
um
Mayu Iwatani.
yeah, she's also in Stardom. There we go. Yeah, she's also in Stardom. This is interesting. Well,
And
okay, so what, go
Kai
ahead. Kyrie? Oh yeah,
Yep.
Kyrie signed. Yeah, Kyrie signed to Stardom. Um, I don't
There's
even have an update for her.
Kamitani.
Are you looking it up?
I might be on the Wikipedia roster
Oh my
page.
god, of course you are. This is why I made you my co-host, okay? This is why I made you my co-host, because I could count on you for all this shit. But by the way, we should talk about your tweet though, the one that you told me when I was like, nah, I don't want no forbidden door between WWE, New Japan, and WWE. But you could go ahead with your wonderful freaking idea that sounds like a Survivor Series episode.
Yes, I was thinking of back in a couple of years ago now when we had, what was it, the volcanic eruption that caused half the world to be left in, or half the roster to be left in Saudi Arabia. We ended up getting Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT at Survivor Series, and I'm like, what about a Survivor Series style pay per view for Forbidden Door 2, AEW, New Japan, WWE? And I tried to put together 3 teams of 5 for a traditional Survivor Series elimination. That was hard, but I put together some matches.
Yeah, you did. That's why I was like, all right, I will only accept this if we do a Survivor Series style matches with the people that like you came up with. And I was like, oh, interesting. So
There
I
were
mean, we could do it for
names. Oh,
what happened?
there were so many names I left out. I'm like, oh,
But I mean, it's a start. This is why I'm telling you to like, tell the world about it. So like, all right. So I brought up the tweet. You said do it over 2 nights. Imagine a 3-way 5-man elimination. WWE on their side has Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Owens, Sami Zayn, and Rollins. AEW will have Omega, Hangman, Mox, Pac, Jericho. And then on New Japan side, we'll have Okada, Osprey, Jay White, Ibushi, and Suzuki. Which, by the way, that's a very interesting team for New Japan, especially to have Ibushi and Suzuki on the same team. Jay White is all in it for himself, even though like I fucking love the dude, but he's all in it. Osprey loves a good fight, and Okada, man, I guess we'll talk about Okada after this. But yeah, um, those are some really heavy teams. Do we have five? We only have one, two, three, four, five. Oh, we do have five. Survivor Series style matches are 5-on-5, right?
Yes.
Um, all right. So I am going to bring back everything pro wrestling to speak because I would like his opinion on this. Like, do you think this will work? I don't know why he went down to listener. We were doing so good. Unless he's busy.
All right. While we're waiting for that, I want to quickly change topic just for a second.
Go ahead. What you got?
Kevin Patrick on commentary.
Did you like it?
I wasn't sold on him. To be fair, I also joined Raw 40 minutes late, and I was listening to him. I'm like, I'm not sure about this. It didn't fit. And then he dropped his one liner, and I'm like, okay, I'm sold now. When he
Go ahead.
said to Graves, tough talk from a guy with a dog named Pancake, I'm just like, yes, that was good. Because usually Corey's the bully, so to have someone like he's bullied Byron for years, so to have someone bite back at him was great.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, dude. Good thing for bringing that one liner up because, like, I was listening to him. I like the way that Kevin Patrick speaks. I like the way that he conducts himself. You could hear the passion that he has for the business, and he's just generally like excited. But yeah, I mean, Corey Graves does like heel things, so I don't necessarily get on him because I understand what it means to play the character. But the only reason why like Byron never like bit back is because this dude like didn't really have it in him to take that risk. I mean, after a while, right? Like in a logical world, if someone keeps picking on you, your reaction after a while is either to, say something back to them where it catches them off guard and they're like, all right, I'm gonna back off, or you punch them in the fucking face, right? Like you do that kind of shit. It's just that like I've never seen the backbone that Byron has. Like he's a sweetheart and he probably is a sweetheart in real life. But, as a human being, you get pushed so far that you're gonna have to either like stand up for yourself by like biting back at them. So, shout out to, Kevin Patrick by doing that. But then again, Kevin Patrick looks like the type of guy to have that quick wit anyway, to like, fight back whenever he needs to. Like if you're there trying to trade jokes with him, like he's gonna come back with like a very good joke at you,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's his one night on the job. On commentary with Corey. We're gonna have to wait until like next week and the week after that to like really give a good assessment about it. So I enjoyed Kevin Patrick on commentary because it was something different. It was something new. The season premiere of Raw felt very like anything can happen. You guys remember that back in the day where WWE was like anything could happen in wrestling? Well, this season premiere, it was that. Like anything can happen, despite PW Insider, however they knew that the Good Brothers were like, sources say they were gonna come to WWE. I'm here thinking, all right, sure, whatever, because let's be honest, the dirt sheets have been like fucking up shit for like the past year. And when I say fucking up shit, I mean like, not really being the journalists to go out there and actually get the good reports and get the actual sources and ask the tough questions. Unlike that one dude that, asked Sasha Banks of like, oh, when are you coming back to WWE? Like, that dude was out there. Rather than doing like armchair reporting. And if people get upset at me for that, so be it. If you're really like a journalist goes out there into the field to go ask people, to go try to get their sources, and like travel and not necessarily do armchair reporting. But that's just me. But yeah, I didn't think it would be this early for them to come over to WWE and like have this fucking chaotic like shit of fighting Judgment Day. We got the original club, and then we got fucking Bullet Club over in Japan, and then also in Impact because we got Chris Bay and Ace Austin. Maybe this can open the door for Chris Bay to actually do something because I love that dude and I love Ace Austin, and I just think like I don't even know if they're gonna show up for like World Tag League for like for Super Juniors. Like, send them over to WWE then.
Yeah, I was gonna say, here's a thought for you. Remember last year the partnership WWE had with Impact?
Yeah.
Hardcore country at the Royal Rumble. What if we have Ace Austin at the Royal Rumble this year?
Oh my god. Like dude, like I would love that. And the only reason why I would love that is because now that Triple H is in charge, I could trust WWE now. And people might say that I'm crazy, and yeah, I might be crazy. But if Vince was still in charge, I still would have been like, no, my favorites will not go to WWE, but because Triple H um understands wrestling, loves wrestling, and I could tell you from firsthand experience that when I was working there back in 2018, they did watch Wrestle Kingdom and like somebody logged it, okay, because Triple H wanted it that way. So maybe somebody will quote that, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, but that's what happened. That was my experience, and I was there like, am I supposed to be listening to this? Like, am I supposed to be like listening to all this like backstage shit that you guys have planned and stuff? The same thing with what was it? All In for Ring of Honor, right? All In.
Yeah, it was all in for Ring of Honor, I believe.
Okay, so yeah, it was the same way too, where they were talking about that, and them watching it. So basically like Triple H watches everything, so I know that he appreciates wrestling as a whole. So I'm not too worried about the way that the wrestlers get presented. And by the way, shout out to Japan Forward because I like following their account and get to know stuff about Japan and stuff like that. So shout out to them who just joined the space. I will bring up something else, and I wish another Twitter user was in here because he reminded me of something. So you know how like usually all of us, right, when we talk about like our favorite wrestlers, we usually say that like if they're in a different company and if they're not getting used right, we sort of feel like that's it. They hit their prime and they're no longer like special or something. That's how I felt about the Good Brothers by them coming back to New Japan. But then as soon as they popped on WWE and the way that they were presented, I was like, oh shit, this is the Good Brothers that I could probably get behind and probably be like, all right, let's see where this goes. So this one user, Omega something, he just said that, he tweeted to me that when they came out on Raw, they were presented way better than they were in Impact, way better than they were in like AEW. And like I think us as fans, that's what happens and like when we like see our favorites in a different light and in a different company that we tend to be like we jump back on that bandwagon because it feels fresh, you know?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. But it makes you wonder what else you could see with like this Forbidden Door thing if we don't get, say, Forbidden Door 2 with the 3 teams. Remember, when was it? One of the Saudi shows they did, WWE did their version of the World Cup. Can you imagine a multi-promotional World Cup style thing with all of them? So you've got Impact, AEW, WWE, New Japan, AAA,
Jesus,
AJPW,
dude.
CML.
Oh man, that's gonna be fantastic. But that's like I would have, dude. That had to. I don't know, man. My brain wants to be like, yo, that has to be done for like a year. Like I don't know, but that
And
sounds fantastic.
Well, if they did it that way, the way I'd format it would be like almost in a tournament style. Is how Impact did it a couple of years ago, with their Impact World Championship, and they had the group stage, and then
Yeah,
the top two wrestlers from each group stage would then go up into the final 16.
yeah. Yeah, that would be fantastic, man. Like, the names, who they're gonna put in there and stuff, if they do like a really huge world like cup league and stuff. The only problem is that like as much as we love talking about like, oh, we should have like, AEW versus New Japan versus WWE, people always want their favorites to win. You know, I'm always of the belief that like it has to be logical why the favorite wouldn't win, but it needs to set up for like an angle and a story to go forward because if it just falls flat, it's like, well then what's the point of the favorite not winning, Like, spoiler alert, even though like I understand why I'm gonna say it again, spoiler alert. Um I understand why Tama lost today against Jay White. I understand. However, I just think that it was time to pull the trigger on Tama for champion, right? Because as much as I love Jay is very good at the chase. He's very good at storytelling. Just like when he had his post match comments about what he said about Okada, I was just like, this man is great with storytelling, and I get why on January the 4th, 2023 in Tokyo Dome, we're getting Okada versus Jay White for in the main event for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship title. Did I want that? No, but the way that Jay White said his story, set up the chase between him and Okada made me believe that like, just made me believe and be on his side. Look, guys, I'm totally biased for like Jay White and Tama. You guys got to like deal with me with that, but I love the story. My point is that because Jay White is the favorite at this point because he still holds that gold and he can basically do what he wants because he's a champion. You gotta listen to this guy. The point is that you know if the favorite loses and then just falls flat and like goes in limbo, all of us here would be like, well then, what was the point of his reign? Going back to the point of like, if we do end up getting a triple threat war between these companies for like fun times, it just has to make sense. If any of that makes sense to you guys.
That definitely made sense. I totally understand what you're talking about.
Okay, cool. I just, cuz sometimes like I get into my little like I guess tangents. I don't know. I go around in circles sometimes. So I just hope that
Yeah.
people like understand where I'm coming from because I'm just so passionate about like especially stuff like this where you don't see it every single time like, despite the dirt sheets ruining whatever, you don't necessarily know the surprise of like the Good Brothers coming to WWE and what kind of benefits that has more than like AEW because AEW has the benefit with teaming up with Noah now. They have a partnership with Noah. So like,
Oh, wow.
it's kind of interesting that like AEW keeps going at this rate of getting a partnership with Noah, getting the partnership with DDT Pro, getting the partnership with New Japan Pro Wrestling, but like is anybody really benefiting from this if no one's really talking about it? If we're not having these surprises where we jump on a Twitter space and we're talking about it, is it really beneficial for everyone involved? You can have all the matches you want in the world, but is it beneficial for like story? Is it beneficial for merchandise sales? Is it beneficial for like analytics? Is it beneficial for us who have podcast episodes who want to see the business succeed and move forward and have conversations with people who want to listen? I could sit here. I am sitting here, talking about this partnership with Noah, but I'm more excited about the future between WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling. It doesn't make any sense to me.
it's wild. Like, even I've only just started to get back into WWE myself because I think in the last 6 months before Triple H took over, we were all just like, eh. Like, Raw would come on, I'm like, oh, I'll just see the highlights or I'll read the Bleacher Report. But now that Triple H is back in charge, I don't want to miss it because I'm like, I'm going to miss something big and I'm going to miss something interesting and wild and chaotic. And I mean, as ruined as the surprise in quotation marks, as you want to call it, was for last night, like, we all knew Wyatt was returning, but
Yeah.
it was so good. It was the worst. It was like CM Punk's return. It was the worst kept secret.
Yeah, I would.
But
Yeah, dude, I'm agreeing with you 100% on that way of before when Vince was in charge, I would just have it on as background noise, and I said that every time on my podcast episode. The time that Triple H comes on, does some like new fresh stuff. I really want to watch. I don't want to miss an episode of Raw. I don't want to miss an episode of SmackDown because now everything is like a little bit more relaxed, even though they all have to play characters. It's a little bit more relaxed and you sort of believe it a little bit more where you're like, okay, I am behind this wrestler for these reasons. Like, why they're doing it, their motivations, and not every fan is gonna attach themselves to that, which is okay. But at the same time, it's like, how is the business going to improve? Because wrestling is the purest form of a theater play. It's the purest form of theater play because like you go there, you fall in love with these characters. They're doing stuff on stage. They have all these actions. But if you just go to a play and then all you see is like a fight, like, are you gonna like go home to your friend and be like, dude, I can't believe that I just saw this fight, And then they're like, oh, well, what was the story? I don't know, man. It was just a fight. Like, how is that fun? Like, shouldn't you be telling your friend, like, oh, the story was this, and this? Like, you tell them like an actual story. Again, if that makes sense. I like the arts. For those of you that don't know, I have a creative writing degree and a publishing certificate, so I really value storytelling like a little bit more than the wrestling. However, if you can basically do technical wrestling with a little bit of flips in it and the psychology is good, you got me hooked up, man. But yeah, Aussie, if you want to like add any more like topics or whatever, or anything that you're thinking about, because I don't know where I'm going with this right now.
oh, I'm still fantasy booking in my head. I'm just like,
Oh, tell me.
well, we've discussed the men's tag team a bit ago. What the other one I had was we had the 5-team elimination. I did the tag team one. But what I'm trying to work out in my head right now is who would I have if we did a women's match? Because women's wrestling's on fire as well.
It is. Are
Like,
you thinking about like WWE women's wrestlers and fighting against like Stardom wrestlers?
well, that's it. Would it be the women versus Stardom, AEW, Impact? Would we have? I'm trying to think. We don't. Would you go? Oh, who's your female version of Bray Wyatt in WWE at the moment?
Man, the first thing I thought of was that Alexa Bliss before she became what she is today. The other one
Yeah,
too, I think Liv Morgan is starting to like turn a little bit into like a
that
darker side of Liv
that shot of
because
Liv Morgan last night or
yeah.
whatever.
But yeah, I think like Liv is starting to turn, but they don't really have like a female version of Bray Wyatt. I don't know why I want to say like for over in Stardom for like Starlight Kid when she came out for her entrance during like the last pay-per-view that they had for their own version of like the G1, the 5-star something. I really tried my best to keep up with Stardom. I really do. But when Starlight Kid came out, it was like freaking supernatural because she's known as like Starlight Kid for like regular stuff, but then when like big events happen, she's Dark Starlight Kid, and I love that girl. She's like super freaking amazing in the ring, and she's like in her early 20s. I'm like, this girl is like
Oh,
fucking amazing.
well, I found, speaking of early 20s, like, one thing that shocked me about age was Tony Khan. I didn't realize the last 3 years we've been watching him, he was in his 30s. I'm like, hold
Yeah,
on.
he just acts like a teenager, which is like,
Well,
bro, like come on, grow up a
no,
little bit.
I thought he was in his 40s already. I'm just like, wait, I was in the same age bracket as Tony Khan. I'm like,
Yeah,
damn.
man. Yeah, I
But
know
no,
it's shocking.
going back to the booking side of things, two fantasy matches I've dreamed of were Abaddon
Uh-huh.
versus Rosemary,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but also Jade Cargill versus Camille.
That'd be interesting. I can they're two big powerhouses, and yeah, that would be interesting to book if we were to do like Impact versus AEW, which by the way, again, why did we never get AEW versus Impact? Like I want to see Deanna take on like Britt Baker just for the hell of it. Like come on.
I think we all wanted that. We were slowly getting there because we had Private Party um, on Impact one night when
Yeah.
Big Money Matt showed up and then started going on about his broken Matt phase when he dropped the tag titles with his brother when they were doing that whole thing back in the day.
Yeah, man, but like I wish they would have kept going with it because at the time AEW was like so, what everyone says bloated, which it was. I would have loved Private Party to have a little bit of a legacy in Impact. It's kind of disappointing to me to know that whenever New York teams go out there and they're finally on a big stage that they don't get the recognition that they like freaking deserve. I guess one half of the acclaim is, well, yeah, because Max Caster is from Long Island, but like an actual homegrown New York team like Private Party don't get the recognition that they deserve from being from New York, and not to like discredit anyone else around the world, but you know like from my experience, because I grew up, I'm born and raised in New York. Like sometimes people don't make it out. The same way that like it is all over the world, that some people don't make it
Oh,
out, but then the ones that do, it's just support them, and like they
yeah.
should have been they should have had a legacy in Impact, because it would have been fun to see Private Party versus the Good Brothers for a little bit, or Private Party versus Chris Bay and Ace Austin of Bullet Club, or Private Party versus Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, or like any of the other tag teams that they have. Like I would have loved all that.
Oh no, I completely understand. I feel the same way with, like, you barely see Australian wrestling, and suddenly we get Aussie Open going global, and it's like the best thing ever.
Yeah, it is. And by the way, like you put me on that Aussie Open bandwagon when I was showcasing their freaking matches, and they're fucking phenomenal. And I'm happy that they are the New Japan Pro Wrestling strong open weight tag team champions. And those belts look like freaking amazing, man. Like I would love to hold them. Aussie Open are doing great things for the United Empire, and they're pushing the team as far as it can go at the moment. I just can't wait to I don't even know if they're gonna be in World Tag League or Super Juniors. I'm not even
I'd
sure which one they'll be.
I'd love to see him win one of the tag leagues in Japan.
Yeah, man, I would love that too. But other than that, I do want to mention that it was kind of interesting for Declaration of Power after Lij's match. This mass wrestler came out, and again, spoiler alert. I'm so sorry, guys, but spoiler alert. It was Teton, and Teton was he's a Mexican wrestler from CMLL, and he was in there for Best of the Super Juniors. And so he came out and he starts talking in Spanish about how he wants like new opportunities, and he was asking if he could join Lij. All their faces were priceless. I was like, this is hilarious. They're all looking at him like, who are you? What? Okay, but they joined him, so now Teton is the first non-Japanese wrestler to join Lij, which is funny.
Yeah, I did see something about that on my timeline.
Yeah, yeah, he decided to join up with Lij, which I think is the weirdest pairing just because I'm like I could see it, but then I'm just like what are you going to do? Cuz almost everybody in Lij at this point is sort of like again floating around. November 5th, we do have Naito versus Osprey for the US championship title. I don't think Naito is gonna get it just because Osprey is hot right now. But then again, I could be wrong, but I think New Japan is gonna keep the US belt on Osprey. I still think that Osprey versus Kenny Omega is like freaking money, and they should still continue their feud on the timeline or something for that. Oh, and by the way, Osprey did like my little spooky video of me, taking the time they did the press conference and David Finley throwing the chair at him, which is fucking hilarious. I did that, so he liked the little spooky video I did.
Oh, did you
Yeah.
see my meme I did on that?
Oh, you did one too?
Oh, I had a meme. I created like this fake letter for the. I don't know who posted. Someone posted a photo or a video of the chair throwing. So I put a cease and desist letter on it with the signature of Ace Steel.
I think I might have seen it. If not, you might have to send it to me. But yeah, I mean, it was the most perfect, funniest thing that I ever saw. Like, I know us like, you know, I'm probably gonna say it here, and the day that Osprey comes on my show, I'm probably gonna tell him anyway that I feel bad for him sometimes because it's like, you know, no one treats him with freaking respect at all.
Oh,
They treat Osprey as if like he's that little brother that you have that you just like do shit to him or like say whatever you want to him. And it's sort of like, bro, but he puts on like 5-star matches. He travels the world, he helps out his buddies, but yet then like no one gives him the respect that he deserves. And I'm like, I feel bad for him sometimes.
I think one thing I've noticed with New Japan is they've got all these factions, but everyone seems to be fighting on their own. Like they don't. There's no consistency with the factions. Like you might get this person here or that person there, but what are they doing as a faction? Like you don't really get this faction warfare.
The I mean, that is true. The only thing that I can add on to that is that the only one that feels like a group right now is United Empire. They
Oh
feel
yeah,
like
no,
a fucking group. They feel like, if like I've always wanted United Empire and Bullet Club to like feud together and like just have this like warfare. I'm still waiting for it. Like an actual warfare, but like United Empire is the one that feels like they are a team. Bullet Club, like they have to like get everybody and make it tighter. So if Jay White ever hears this, like I got ideas. My DMs are open. The other thing too
so,
is that with Chaos is all
mm,
over the place, and Okada
yeah.
is the leader of Chaos, but it's still all over the place. Lij, at one point, Lij versus Suzuki Gun was like very good as like a faction warfare was good. If you want to talk about like trios teams, for like warfare, you have God versus Yoshihashi Goto and Ishii. Add Jay White also to God. This happened back in I just did my article about this. Um 2019, but I might be wrong. No. Whatever. You guys go read my article. I'm so sorry. I can't think of the top of my head. But yeah, New Japan is very good at snapshots and moment in times when it comes to like their big ass teams that they have. They're very good with that. But I would definitely love to see a really good long club warfare type of thing going on.
Well, I suppose there's also TMDK.
Yeah, but they haven't really like I can see where you're going with that. But I don't know what they're gonna really do because it's what is it? It's Big Bad Tito, there's Jonah, there's
Nick Miller.
Nick?
Yeah, Nick Miller.
Oh, wait.
So
Oh,
the
wait.
current,
And there's also Shane Haste.
yes. So is it Shane Haste or Shane Thorne?
I
What's he
remember
going
it
by
very
at the moment?
briefly as Shane
Shane.
Haste,
Yeah, so
but it
Shane
might be
Haste,
okay.
the former
So
Slapjack,
what happened?
formerly known as Slapjack.
Wow. Okay. Fun fact because I did not remember that. Um so yeah, we named four people in that group. I don't know if they consider I know they consider themselves as a team because it's TMDK, but I don't know like mm, yeah, now I'm thinking about it cuz it's not like
TMDK been around for a lot longer than what most people realize.
yes, which I don't know how long they've been around. How long they've been around?
May 16th, 2008.
The fuck? What?
And the
Since
only
you
reason I knew they've been around for a while is because I was actually watching a match this morning. So,
uh-huh.
for perspective here, it's just after 2 p.m. in the afternoon for me now. I was watching a match this morning between Adam Brooks and Slack. So, one of their very first encounters was Adam Brooks' debut at Wrestle Rock back
Yeah.
in 2011. And Slacks was representing TMDK then. And this is Adam Brooks's, I believe, his first win over Slacks due to a interference from Kellyanne.
Mm.
Don't know how well she's known around the world at the moment. But it was a really good match, and it's a rivalry that's definitely worth checking out. Like they've had, I reckon, at least 7 matches.
Uh-huh.
One of them was meant to happen in Ring of Honor, but it never happened. But Slacks versus Adam Brooks is one of the greatest Australian-born rivalries you will ever come across.
Interesting. And this group started in 2008. Damn.
Yes. So four
Damn.
are known as Slacks,
Uh-huh.
Marcus, and Elliot Sexton.
Ah, okay. Wow.
So Elliot Sexton has also gone by the names of Brendan Vink and current Duke Hudson.
Okay.
So he's currently signed to NXT.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah,
Big Bad Duke from NXT.
yeah.
The one
Wow.
that very rarely gets seen.
Yeah, because of his situation that happened not too long ago. But yeah. Um, Interesting. I mean, at that point, obviously, we can probably say they are, a faction in New Japan. But like, I think they need more members to be considered like a
Well, they're
faction.
not even in New Japan. They're in New Japan Strong.
Well, I just sort of consider it like if you work for New Japan, you're eventually gonna work for Strong. So it to me, it's the same shit.
Mm.
I don't really consider it too off, too different. But think of like New Japan Strong the same way that like Dark is, where they allow different wrestlers, to come on and like showcase for Strong because like their main people over in Japan can't always like fly over back and forth and
Mm.
stuff. So consider it like that. But until like Jonah says that we're like, I mean, he probably already said it anyway, but like something along the lines of that, like, them together as a team, as TMDK is gonna take over like New Japan, like actually like say it like more than once in like their backstage promos. Because like you sort of understand it with United Empire that's like relatively new on the scene. So you understand it. I don't want to say TKMD is like a force to be reckoned with until like it's official. Like I can see it. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, that makes sense. It's like they're a faction that's very small, very unheard of.
Yeah. I
They're
think that
still
like given them the time to grow, and maybe if Jonah wants to add more people, because sometimes when he comes out to like when he's on New Japan, it'll be him and like Big Bag Tito for a bit, and then like Shane Hayes now just joined them, so it's sort of like hopefully they'll get more members if Jonah wants that to happen. But yeah, I think that's gonna like wrap this special episode up. I was gonna give another shout out to Japan Forward, but they left. They're freaking awesome. I like following their tweets, so I get to stay updated about what's happening in Japan. So Aussie, I gonna let you put yourself over. Whatever you wanna say at the end of this.
all right. So at the moment, what I'm working on is a magazine, sort of like the PWI, but I want to focus specifically on Australian wrestling because it does not get done justice around the world. There's so much talent here that the world doesn't know, and eventually, I want to create like the top 100, top 200 wrestlers in Australia so the world can see what's going on down here. There's so much happening, and it's almost we're on one of those double-sided mirrors where we can see what's going on, but you guys can't. And I want to break that glass window, shatter it, and let the world see Australia. So you'll see that coming up on Substack by the end of the month. It's going to be called the Aussieverse Inc., or just the Aussieverse basically at this stage. It's got a Marvel designed logo. We're going to have articles about rookies, reviews on Australian pay-per-views. We're going to have an article, as I spoke before, on Adam Brooks and Slacks about their rivalry over the past 10 years. We're going to do every month, we'll probably do like the top 20 wrestlers I think I discussed. I've got someone helping me with that. We're always looking for more people to come and join. So if anyone knows someone that's looking to get into writing or wants to get a start, by all means, hit me up. I want to make something big out of this. So yeah, keep an eye out on Substack for the Aussieverse.
And of course, I will leave that link down in the description when this special episode goes up on anchor.fm/Square Circle Podcast. This is the first time that I think of trying to do a raw review of this because it was something special and I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy everyone that we had that came in here. I always have a good time talking to Aussie and the rest of the people that came in to, speak whatever they had to say. So this is going to wrap it up. Again, I am your host, Marie Shadows. Make sure to hit that follow button right here on Twitter at Marie_Shadows. If you guys want to, I also stream on Twitch. That's going to come back soon. So head over to twitch.tv/Marie_Shadows. And I too have a Substack as well. And it's also going to be recommending Aussie Lucian's Substack there as well too. So you guys could get both of our stuff talking about everything wrestling. So mine is marieshadows.substack.com. And again, Aussie Lucian, I thank you for being my co-host, man. It's already 12:14 in the morning for me. What time is it for you over there in Australia?
Just hit 2:15 in the afternoon.
So Aussie is already in the future, guys. So it just makes it that much special. I do want to thank who's here. Jeff, thank you for listening for all the way through, man. You're awesome. Thank you for this. So yeah, guys, have a wonderful night. And I will hope to do another Twitter space soon. And I'll see you all in the next one.